Hey everybody, Mike Stanton with Lake Sotheby's International Realty. I wanted to introduce you to a friend and a guest of mine. Vicki Kaiser is the owner of Vicki Kaiser Staging. And I just wanted to talk about the benefits of staging and what I've learned from Vicki and how much it's helped the sellers that I work with. So Vicki, hey, thanks for coming on here today. And you have a really cool background with the DIY network.
Yes.
Will you tell me about that?
Yes. Well, after being a stay-at-home mom for a long time, I went back to school and got an interior design degree, and I needed to do an internship. And I heard of Kelly Coffer, and I called her up and asked her if I could do an internship with her. And she, at the time, was working for the DIY network.
And Kelly Coffer, was she the show person?
So she was the designer on the show. There was the show, there was a producer, there was the star of the show, and then the designer did everything. So it was DIY, so you had to come up with 3 DIY projects for the homeowner to do, and then after they redid the whole kitchen, then we went in and staged the whole thing.
Cool.
For the final reveal. So it was really fun. I actually stayed on and ended up staying on with her like for 6 months just because it was so much fun. I was getting so much experience, and they used a few of my ideas, so that gave me some photos that I could use on my website because I was new. Mm-hmm. And then I discovered staging, and staging was so much fun because it was interior designers are like, isn't it boring? You're doing the same thing over and over. And it's like it's the same concept, but different people, different house. And I just it's a formula, and I just love doing it. So then I got into staging.
See, that's when I met you, because the broker that I worked with previously to Lake Sotheby's International Realty had you come and talk at one of our team meetings. Yeah. And you gave a really great presentation, and you were showing before and after photos, and I was absolutely blown away by how you could transform a room and make it look expensive, and like you wanted to buy that place.
Right.
So as my real estate career progressed, I started offering this service to my clients. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because they don't understand why it's important.
Right.
Especially if the person's an interior designer, because this is the opposite of
interior
design. You told me that. Like, it's undecorating.
Right.
So when you go into the property and give a consultation for using everything that they have in their house right now, tell us about that, because it's a really fascinating
Well, I always tell people
process.
That you're selling your home, not your stuff.
Right.
So you're trying to make yourself disappear as much as possible, create a broad appeal so that a potential buyer can envision themselves and their things in your space. So it's anti-design, or I call it subliminal design.
Okay.
You're trying to invoke a feeling of welcoming, and they just feel good in the space, and they don't know why. So I call it subliminal design.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because now when I've been with you so many times watching you talk to people, that I can kind of tell, that table in that walkway is going to go. So we have a big wide walkway. Or, this thing over there, she's going to yank that and put that in the garage. But
I'll even do that. I'll say this should go, or this should go over here, even someplace different.
Right.
I shop the house, and someone will say, Mike said you're probably going to say that.
Because I'm getting to the point where I can say, this is a really cool plant up here. I guarantee you she's going to want it downstairs, probably by the fireplace.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, you do.
Yeah.
But give us a couple examples how you've gone into a person's home and they're needing to move, and it's super stressful, and they don't think they need this whole staging process. Mm-hmm. But within a few minutes, tell them what happens.
Well, that's the most rewarding part of the job for me, is winning them over. Because the main thing is I let them know that I'm on their side. Mm-hmm. And they don't have to do a thing I say, that this is professional advice, and they're in total control, and I would never advise something if it's going to cost them money unnecessarily or work unnecessarily. It's not the time to be doing that. So they know that that I am there advocating for them and trying to get the most money for their house for them. And so once we have that one discussion and make sure that they don't take anything personal, they understand what we're trying to accomplish, they're pretty much on board and even excited
Right.
about getting going. They're pretty much just tell us what to do and we'll do it.
There's this one situation that I remember up in Woodbury. Beautiful home, decorated really nicely, but it needed a little zhuzhing, as they say. But the person that owned the property was a little resistant until you started literally saying, "Can I please go into your cabinet?" And you
Oh yeah.
and then you would take something from the cabinet and put it out or make a little vignette
Yes,
of something.
yes.
And then you'd move something from from the back, from like the owner suite bathroom, downstairs, and all of a sudden this particular person said, "Oh my gosh, I get it.
I know.
Like I totally get it."
And
then she was like, "All
apologize. They'll apologize. I'm so sorry that I pushed back so much. I didn't realize, and I'm like, good. I'm glad we just got there and that we got it done. But that's what it's so much fun. That kind of stuff is so much fun to me. To just I'll say and I'm always shopping their house and scrounging for things. So
stuff that people have in their cabinets that they might use only for like a celebration or Christmas, or it's like, no, that's a really cool piece of decor that we need to have this out.
Right. I'm like, well, they think they don't have stuff, but they usually do. And I can almost make something out of nothing. So I'm like, do you mind if I just look through your cabinets? It's just, I find all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. So, yeah.
The other,
and then then they feel complimented. Like,
yeah. And we're doing it for their benefit. Like we're doing it because when the photography comes in, we want the house to look absolutely amazing for the photos.
Right.
Because if a person comes to your property with their realtor to see it, in this market, it's a second showing. And you can get the old right swipe versus left swipe, and you want to be passing that online test to come in. So there's another situation that I remember. It was another rather large house in Woodbury, and they had been there for many, many years, and they had a lot of really cool stuff, but they were very detailed people, engineer, physician, very, very, very detailed. And the thing that I remember is that once you spent, and it was several hours, and then your consultation report comes room by room by room, like step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's an example of what to put here.
Right.
They were like, she gave me a roadmap, and they just literally did the homework.
Yeah. Oh, they love that. Everyone loves that written report. And I've always done a written report. I think some are not doing that as much anymore, but I think that's the most important part. I mean, they aren't going to get it done. They can't remember everything you said.
Right.
It's just, that's what gets them so de-stressed and organized.
Like, I will literally get phone calls and say, oh my gosh, okay, like on page 3, in the master or owner suite bathroom, she wants me to use towels and roll them up like a spa, but I need to, and she's like, should I literally go to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy one of those little scrubbers? And I'm like, hey, if you want to, you can. You don't need to. And they're like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And off they go. So, I mean, they literally have a map.
Right.
Exactly.
And they'll get a little, if they truly don't have, like, let's say they really should have white towels like in a master bathroom.
Right.
And they don't have white towels. I always say, you're ahead of the game. You're going to buy a few white towels. You're going to have pretty easy. You don't have to paint. Some people there's more detail report and to-do list. If you don't have bigger things to do, then you can spend more time making it really, really look nice. So they're more than willing usually just to go buy a few white towels and things.
So if you were to tell people, let's just say the 3 top things that is just imperative for them to do prior to getting their house on the market and prior to having the photos done, 3 top things.
So
what would it be?
Are we just talking about staging, or do you want like cleaning?
Well, cleaning is a good point, because that is the number one complaint from buyers, is that a property isn't clean. And that's a very subjective thing, because what people think is clean to them might not be clean to the other person. So what's the statement that you tell them about cleaning?
Well, in the report I have across the board just general things that they get that I advise everyone to do, and I tell them that that's going to be at the top of the report too. And so I word it so I try to word things and say things so it's not too personal or too, like clean your home. I say keep your home thoroughly cleaned.
Right.
So as if it's pretty clean, just So I try to word things to not offend anybody.
Yeah, like if your favorite music artist or your, favorite, movie star is coming to your house for dinner.
Yeah.
What would you do
Right.
to get the place ready?
Right,
Like,
right.
do that.
Yeah. and then I'll clean your windows inside and out. And sometimes I'll say, just, take the screens off. The windows will look brighter and
Yep.
cleaner, especially if they have a lot of natural light coming in, if they have a nice view that you want to highlight.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of cleaning the screens there and that, just store them away in especially in the main level where or in the living room or something.
Okay.
Just take the screens off. And so cleaning is number one.
It is massive.
Declutter.
Yeah.
I say get rid of every single thing you don't want to take with you and store the rest neatly and clean.
You taught me no faces, no words, no numbers,
No religious.
no religious things. If a person has a religious item in their bedroom or something like that, that's important to them. I'm like, you know what? I would never have a person remove it. But if that religious item is everywhere around the house, I might suggest it might be best.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's always their choice.
And I've come across that. And I just say, well, the advice is no religious things. And I said, but if you want to keep it up, that's up to you. I'm sure it's not going to be a deal breaker.
And the same thing goes for politics.
Politics.
Anything that is really divisive
Right.
probably is best, because when your house is on the market, it's a product.
Right. Well, it's just one of those things I always say to get out of that conversation. I just say, I advise this for a reason, but you don't have to do it.
They're all suggestions.
Yeah, right.
The other thing you taught me is just floor space. We're selling floor space, square footage.
Right.
So usually, I'm pretty sure you taught me this. Like, it's going to feel like your house is empty, but get 50% of it out.
Right.
And it's going to feel absolutely empty to you, but to the person walking in, it's going to feel almost normal.
Right. I see. You just want to define spaces.
Yeah.
And allow a potential buyer to be able to envision their things in your home. You want to create a broad appeal. You don't want to be too traditional, too contemporary, too anything.
Right.
And and then it's great if we can do the living room together, because then there's traffic. There's lots of things you can do, and it's amazing how little you can take out to make a huge difference.
Exactly. And you also taught me, like, if a spare room has a treadmill in it and a desk in it and a bed in it, the buyer's mind gets scrambled.
Right.
So like, choose.
Right.
Either you make it an office, or make it a gym,
Yes.
or make it a bedroom.
Right.
But it can't be all three.
Right.
The other thing is like family photos, wedding photos, graduation photos. People are like, what am I do with all these photos? I'm like, well, you can pack them up, because they're going to be super exciting to unpack when you hang them on your new house.
Yeah, I would say just see it as getting a jump on packing. Like, because some people push back, well, I really like that. And I'm like, I'm not saying throw it away. I'm saying you're going to pack it up and take it with you. Keep your eye on the ball. Remember, you want to leave this house and get your stuff into your new home. So remember what we're trying to do here.
So how do you feel if a person has a property that, let's just say, it's mom or dad's house and nobody's lived there? What is your opinion of a vacant property versus a bunch of stuff that's maybe all dated and hodgepodge, different styles?
I would go vacant and make sure that the paint is fresh and the flooring is decent.
Okay.
And any flaws you're covering up with furniture, anything you would accomplish with staging, you would want to take care of that, because if you're not going to have staging and you're going to go vacant. But there's some furniture that's just not doing you any good at all. It's hurting you.
Right.
And it's just, and a lot of people get it. Some people get it. But there's things you can do.
Well, like nowadays,
you can sort of take half of it out and with pillows and different things, update a few things. Bring, what you do too is you'll have a really cool lamp, but the lampshade's super old and dull or whatever, but the base is cool. So just just get a new shade.
Yeah,
that makes a huge difference right there.
Yeah, there was something else I was going to ask you. In regards to vacant staging, there's a huge push right now that photographers are doing virtual staging, just dropping furniture pieces into photos.
Right.
I'm just going to out myself right now. I have a very strong opinion about that, and I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't like it is, number one, when you look at the photos, I can tell immediately that it's not real.
Right.
Secondly, when you go to the property with the buyer, you walk into a vacant, dull, dead house.
Right.
So to me, it would almost be worth trying to source something to just define some spaces with something.
Right.
So you've been asked about virtual staging, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't offer that right now. I looked into it and I thought, this is not my thing. I like you. I don't really believe in it either. I don't like the way it looks.
I completely dislike it.
I don't know. Maybe technology will advance to the point where it looks more real or something. But beside the point, when you
if they can advance the technology to it's like hologrammed into the spot, like when you walk into the house and there it all is.
Right.
Other than that, no, it's not cool.
Right.
So
you get that advanced, you start thinking it's like smoke and mirrors around here. Like you're trying to sell something real and you're trying to trick me. I feel like someone's trying to trick me.
So your business focuses on consultation of the seller on behalf of the realtor, kind of like that good cop, bad cop. You're helping them. You're on their team.
Yeah.
You're using their stuff.
Right.
And you are helping them get things out of the property, which is helping them get ready to move.
Right.
And it's also, your report is giving them room by room instructions of what to do.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you do that I really like is you attach pictures of here's a little vignette to put on a counter, or here's a little vignette to put on your table, so when people follow that, it's amazing the result. I've got a couple stats.
Let's hear
from the National Association of Realtors. Here's one. How fast is my house going to sell? If you stage your property properly, what I like to call market preparation, they sell typically 88% faster than if you did nothing.
I believe it.
That's a pretty significant stage.
Yeah.
Am I going to get more money for my house if I stage or if I prepare properly? And the statistics are there. It says you will get 20% more for your property if it is properly staged, put together, and ready for market, as opposed to doing nothing. So to me, I think that's a pretty big return on investment. Now, I don't know about the other realtors, but I cover your fee.
Most realtors will cover that fee.
I do that.
Yeah.
It's part of my marketing plan.
Yeah.
It's the least I can do to help them.
Well, not only do you not have to worry about it, it's such a thorough report, and people are it's always. I've never had anybody. I've never left someone's home where they felt like they had a bad experience. They're always happier when I leave than when I showed up, because they're relieved to have all this information. I do the thinking for them and give them that to-do list, and they just feel great about it, and they're more focused on what they're trying to accomplish. So they're just more focused and raring to go. Like it energizes them. They can't wait to
It does energize them. And I'm glad you said the phrase, I do the thinking for them.
Yeah.
Because people have said to me over and over and over, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to do exactly what she says.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just following the Yellow Brick Road.
Yep.
So-
I mean, if I were a realtor, I would use staging consultations.
Awesome.
No, I mean, even if with my background, all of a sudden the next day I'm a realtor, I would use a stager.
Cool.
I wouldn't try to do it myself
Yeah.
because for the price, why would I do all of that when I can have somebody? Plus, you've got. It shows that I think that you're have high-end services when you offer the service.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not only is the house going to look nice, you're going to get more money and all these important things, but then I think you get better word of mouth referrals, and and I know that I'm very aware that I'm there representing the realtor that sent me there, and so I reassure them they're in good hands when they have a question that maybe isn't really staging related. Let's say it's something you have to talk to Mike about, and see. I said, and Mike. And I talk a lot. He might call me and ask. I might call him.
I do.
And it's not like I leave the house and you never see me again or talk to me again. You can call me anytime you want and ask me any question you want.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thanks, Vicki.
Yes.
And your website is VickiKaiser.com.
Yes.
And you've got before and after photos.
Yep, I've got
on
before and
your
after
reel.
photos of vacant stagings. I wish I could do before and afters of the consultations, but I'm not going to go in someone's home and take a bunch of pictures. And
Well, we
stress
can
them out.
kind of. Well, I'll provide you from now on with photos from MLS. That usually helps.
Oh, okay. Well, for after.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about before.
Oh.
For that
Well, we
circumstance.
may have to start taking photos while we're doing the consultation.
It makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference.
So
if you see a before and after of a vacant to a staged, or to a family room that is cluttered with a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
to it ready to go,
Yeah.
you don't even believe it's the same place.
I know.
It's really cool.
I know. It is.
Thanks,
huge.
Vicki.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah.
You're so awesome to work
Oh,
with.
please.